You don't want to put something out half-assed if it's not where it needs to be.
And not even perfecting it. I just believe in it.
Yeah.
I believe in what it's going to be. That I don't really care what happens in the meantime or what little necessary steps. That's part of the learning process. I get excited about learning.
Roll, please! Back in the bed, Rudy, with your favorite bearded man, the one, the only, Bobbbaaaay. Today, we're bringing in a past guest of the podcast. We don't do this too often, okay? Special occasions only. Fellow bearded brother, past guest for episode 46 of the podcast, Ben Foley, known as Foley. Originally from 413, I did that backwards, 413 Massachusetts, Hoyle, Massachusetts. He is an all-around creative. This guy has been hustling for a long time. I've been watching his journey from afar, and we connected for a podcast 2 years ago this month. We did it in a hotel in Boston when he was in town. Works heavily with a recording artist named Mike Stud, and that has been a huge part of his come up. Foley himself has been putting in the work for a long time, and I'm really curious to kind of tap in to see what has Ben been up to for the past 2 years. Foley, once again. It's going to be a great podcast. Once again, I don't do enough of these follow-up ones for somebody like him who, a lot of things happening in the past 2 years, and I think it's going to be a good conversation, and we're going to deep dive into it. And I hope he's ready, because I got some questions for him. Ladies and gentlemen, Foley's in the house. High quality podcast content. Go! There he is! Foley's in the house, baby!
Just like listen back on that, but I mean, yeah, man, just the works. I mean, ever since 46, it's been more just artists, DJs, producers, entrepreneurs. Finally got an NBA player.
My guy.
You know Jordan?
Man's my guy.
Oh, that's
bro.
fire. Let's go,
We
man.
go way back.
When I came across, I was like just in the depths of Instagram, and I saw he said he said Massachusetts raised, and then said NBA.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I gotta DM this dude.
Yeah, so I know him from Iowa State.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, welcome back to the Purpose in the Youth podcast with your favorite bearded man, the one, the only, Bobbbaaaay. Today in the house, second time on the podcast, fellow bearded brother, repping Massachusetts, Foley. What up, baby?
Yes, sir.
All around creative. I can't even put you in a box of photographer, videographer, designer. You are just a creative, period. I feel like is the best way to describe you.
Good.
Is that how you would explain yourself to people?
Yes.
Dude.
Yes. Like, well, I don't really ever have to explain myself to people, but whenever I do, I just say creative.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then they're like, what do you mean? And I just say I'm a designer.
I would just say, look at my Instagram. Look what I do, baby.
I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate that.
You don't want to do that?
No, right? To get this right.
You want to perfect it. You don't want to put something out half-assed if it's not where it needs to be.
And not even perfecting it. I just believe in it.
Yeah.
I believe in what it's going to be. That I don't really care what happens in the meantime or what little necessary steps. That's part of the learning process. I get excited about learning how to do this.
Yeah.
It makes me happy.
What 2 to 3 pieces of advice would you give to somebody that still hasn't found that passion? You're somebody that clearly is passionate, wakes up every day with some direction as to what you want and need to do. What's the best 2 to 3 pieces of advice to finding that passion?
I think the cutting out the unnecessary content or curating your own content. I think that's really important. Now, if you want to be an Instagram model or you want to be a makeup chick, then we're going to follow very different people. Follow people that inspire you. Don't follow people that you look at and are, maybe jealous of or envious of. And then physical, that's the two. I think that's, and obviously we got to go back and end it with the do something today to make tomorrow better.
Oh,
But
I love that.
I think,
bro.
be better, take care of yourself. You can't do shit if you can't move, bro. Like, I'm real limited. Because my brain goes, I want to design, I want to get this shit out. Like, my brain is constantly creating. You know how hard it is to just, not be able to do that? Because literally, if you do that and you push yourself, you might not ever be able to do it again.
Thank you. Appreciate it, brother. Catch you guys next time.
So, I am just presenting shit that I'm making.
Yeah.
It's not a commerce business. It's not about that. Obviously I want to make money but I want to make money so that I can keep making shit.
Yeah.
It's not about yo, I just want to make so much money that I could just like
Yeah.
go pop bottles at the club. It's
Yeah.
like I want to make enough money so that I can reinvest to make the mold to do this. Like
that's true like happiness right there when you can find something that you're just like doubling in and
switch flipped.
Yeah.
Dude, I was miserable, and I've gone through it before where I've needed to step away. What's wrong? Like what can I do differently? And every time I do it, I fucking lock myself in a room, create, and I explore. And it's been like every time that like I've been in my low, what the foundation of art was that. Like it was just like I was just like trying to learn as much shit. I was trying to explore. Like
Please, brother. Ladies and gentlemen, nice little round 2 with the creative himself, Foley from Western Massachusetts, 413. Excellent conversation. What I love most about doing these is that we can just deep dive into some real shit. Obviously, the first one we did back in Boston 2 years ago for episode 46, painting the picture of his whole life, where today we just get right into it, and a lot has changed. This pod was like 2.5 hours long. Check it out if you haven't already. This was the Behind the Beard. The link is in the bio. Kirk, man, shooting the fire. Chill!